The Galactic Combat Academy's undefeated champion strike team had Emma Rodriguez cornered in the equipment room, and she was asking if they wanted to make this official while casually wringing out her mop. "Let me get this straight," Emma said, leaning against her cleaning cart. "You seven came down here because I said your training methods were inefficient." Kael'thas, leader of the Vanguard 7, flexed his four arms in what his species considered an intimidating display. "You disrespected the Academy's traditions, human. You disrespected us." Emma snorted. "I said you guys leave unnecessary messes because you practice flashover function. That's not disrespect. That's a professional observation from someone who cleans up after your traditions every single day." According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. In the security office 3 floors up, Director Zara watched the feeds with growing alarm. She'd been monitoring this confrontation since Kael'thas and his team left the training halls. The Vanguard 7 were the Academy's most decorated combat unit, warriors who'd trained since childhood in 17 different martial disciplines. They'd never lost a sanctioned match. They'd certainly never been challenged by a janitor. "Should we intervene?" her assistant asked nervously. Zara's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Not yet, but contact the Galactic Combat Authority. If this escalates, we'll need it documented." Back in the equipment room, Vexthul, the team's speed specialist, circled Emma with practiced menace. "The human doesn't understand what she's facing." "Oh, I understand," Emma said, setting down her mop with deliberate care. 7 highly trained warriors came to intimidate the cleaning lady because she pointed out you're wasting time with unnecessary flourishes. She cracked her knuckles. "So I'll ask again, do you want to make this official or are we just posturing?" Liranna, the team's tactical genius, studied Emma with calculating eyes. "You're proposing actual combat? You realize we're apex predators from worlds where—" Yeah, Deathworlds, evolved hunters, superior reflexes," Emma waved dismissively. "I've heard the speech. You want to do this or not? Because if not, I've got 3 more floors to finish before my shift ends." Kael'thas's eyes narrowed. In his 15 years at the Academy, no one had ever interrupted Liranna's tactical assessments. "Very well, human. Sparring rules or actual combat?" Emma considered. "Sparring rules. I don't want to fill out the paperwork if someone gets seriously hurt." The Vanguard 7 laughed. It was a sound of genuine amusement mixed with predatory anticipation. "Arena 3, Kael'thas said. 10 minutes. Director Zara stood in the observation deck of Arena 3, her communicator pressed to her audio receptor. "Yes, Combat Authority, I'm serious. The human janitor just accepted a challenge from the Vanguard 7. The voice on the other end crackled with disbelief. "The janitor? Director, our protocols don't even classify—" "I'm aware of the classification issues," Zara interrupted. "But it's happening. I need this properly documented in case of injuries." "You mean when the human gets injured?" Zara watched Emma enter the arena below, still wearing her maintenance uniform. The human stretched casually, rolling her shoulders like she was preparing for a light workout rather than facing the Academy's most lethal combat team. "We'll see," Zara muttered. The arena filled quickly. Word had spread through the Academy's network. The human who'd been working quietly in maintenance for 6 months, the one who never talked much and just did her job, had challenged the Vanguard 7. Students and instructors crowded the observation levels, expecting to witness a brief and educational demonstration of why you don't disrespect the Academy's elite. Kael'thas led his team onto the arena floor. They'd changed into full combat gear, treating this with the seriousness it apparently deserved. Emma looked at their equipment and sighed. "Really? Full tactical gear for sparring?" "We honor our opponents by bringing our best," Kael'thas said formally. "Uh-huh." Emma kicked off her work boots. "I honor my opponents by not dragging this out too long. Some of us have work to finish." In the observation deck, an instructor leaned toward Zara. "Should we stop this? The human doesn't seem to understand." She understands perfectly, Zara said quietly. Something in Emma's posture, in the way she moved, there was no fear there. No hesitation, just patience. Like someone waiting for a meeting to start so they could get back to important work. The combat sensors activated, establishing the arena's boundaries and safety protocols. A holographic referee appeared, stating the rules in the standard 17 languages. Emma raised her hand. Sparring rules, non-lethal, stop on submission or incapacitation. Got it. Can we start? The referee, programmed to respond to such efficiency, simply nodded. Combat begins in 3, 2, 1. Engage. Vexithul moved first. As the team's speed specialist, he was supposed to be untouchable. His species evolved on a world where predators attacked from 7 dimensions simultaneously. He'd never been hit during his first strike. He blurred across the arena floor, covering 30 meters in less than a second. His strike aimed at Emma's center mass, a standard opening that would demonstrate dominance without causing serious injury. Emma wasn't there. She'd simply stepped to the left, not even hurrying, and Vexthul sailed past her into the wall behind. Not hard enough to injure, but hard enough to dent the reinforced barrier. The arena went silent. That's weird, Emma said, helping Vexthul up. You telegraphed that about 3 seconds before you moved. Thought speed specialists were supposed to be unpredictable. Kael'thas's 4 eyes widened fractionally. Telegraphing? Vexthul's opening strike was specifically designed to provide no advance warning. The combat algorithms that analyzed it had never detected a predictive pattern. Again, Vexthul hissed, embarrassed. This time, 3 of them attacked simultaneously. Vexthul from the front, Ginix from the left, and Azila from above. A coordinated pattern that had won them the Inter-Academy Championship. The attacks were timed to force their opponent into a defensive position where the 4th team member could deliver the finishing technique. Emma yawned. Then she ducked. All 3 attackers collided with each other in mid-air, their carefully coordinated assault becoming a tangle of limbs and confused curses. They crashed to the arena floor in a heap. Sorry, Emma called out. Did I mess up your timing? Liranna's tactical mind raced. The human hadn't predicted their movements. That would be impossible given the quantum-level randomization built into their attack algorithms. She'd anticipated their intentions. The difference was subtle but critical. Full combat protocols, Kael'thas ordered, his voice tight. The team regrouped, forming a standard combat sphere around Emma. This was advanced level tactics, simultaneous attacks from 8 vectors, no escape route, designed to overwhelm any opponent's defensive capability. Emma stood in the center, hands in her pockets. Is something supposed to be happening? They struck. What happened next would be analyzed by combat instructors for the next decade. Emma moved through their formation like water flowing around stones, not with speed, not with strength, but with an economy of motion that made their attacks seem clumsy and overcomplicated. A slight turn here, a step there, a casual lean that made a devastating strike miss by centimeters. She wasn't blocking, she wasn't even really dodging, she was just not where they were hitting. What the? Ginix started, then found himself flying through the air as Emma used his own momentum to flip him over her shoulder. He landed hard, gasping. Leverage, buddy, Emma said sympathetically. You came in way too committed. In the observation deck, Director Zara was frantically updating her report to the Combat Authority. The human is systematically dismantling the Vanguard 7 using techniques that don't match any known combat discipline. That's impossible, the Combat Authority representative said. We've analyzed every martial art in the known galaxy. There are only so many efficient ways for a bipedal organism to... I'm watching it happen, Zara interrupted. Send an expert. Now. Azila tried a different approach. As a psionic dampener, she could create disorienting effects in an opponent's neural pathways. Not mind control, but enough to scramble their reflexes and spatial awareness. It was incredibly effective against most species. She focused her ability on Emma, channeling the full force of her training. Emma tilted her head. Felt a weird tingle there. You guys got some kind of energy field in this arena? Azila stared in disbelief. The human wasn't affected at all. Her neural patterns were just brushing off the interference like it wasn't there. Right, Kael'thas said, his voice dangerously calm. All of us. Lethal authorized techniques, now. Wait, Lyrana started, but it was too late. All 7 members of the Vanguard 7 attacked simultaneously, unleashing techniques that had ended wars. Multi-dimensional strikes, quantum-level predictions, psionic disruptions, brute force trauma, everything they'd trained for, all at once. Emma moved. She flowed through their assault like smoke through a net, her movements so efficient they seemed almost lazy. She caught Vexthul's fist mid-strike with one hand, still chewing on a protein bar she'd pulled from her pocket with the other. Are we done yet? She asked through a mouthful of chocolate and peanuts. 'Cause I really do have to finish the West Wing tonight. The arena had gone completely silent. Even the ambient hum of the environmental systems seemed to have quieted. Kael'thas stared at his fist, held casually in Emma's grip. He was using 40% of his species' maximum strength, enough to dent reinforced steel. She was holding it back with one hand while eating a snack. How? He whispered. Emma swallowed. How what? All of it. The predictions, the counters, you're not even trained. Oh, Emma released his fist and dusted off her hands. Yeah, about that. You guys telegraph everything way too early, like 3 full seconds before you commit to a move. It's all in your stance, your weight distribution, your eye focus. You're thinking too much. Lyrana felt her worldview cracking. Thinking too much. Combat is about calculated. Combat is about reacting, Emma interrupted. You're running algorithms and patterns and tactical analyses. By the time you've decided what to do, I've already seen what you're going to do and adjusted. She shrugged. Humans evolved getting chased by things bigger and meaner than us. We got real good at reading intention and reacting fast. It's instinct. The door to the observation deck burst open. Jotaro, the Galactic Combat Authority's chief analyst, rushed in, his 6 eyes wide. I came as fast as... He stopped, staring at the scene below. By the Founders. She's still standing. She's doing more than standing, Zara said grimly. She's winning. Jotaro's analytical mind struggled to process what he was seeing. But our databases show no human combat training. She's classified as maintenance personnel. There's no record of... Watch, Zara said simply. Below, Emma had agreed to demonstrate what she meant. Vexthul volunteered, still rubbing his bruised ego more than his bruised body. Okay, so when you attack, Emma said, settling into a relaxed stance, you do this whole wind-up thing, see? She mimicked Vexthul's earlier stance. Your weight shifts to your back leg, your shoulders tense, your eyes. Focus on your target. You're basically announcing, I'm going to hit you now. Here's where. Get ready. Vexthul's crest flushed with embarrassment. That's standard form. Standard telegraphing, Emma corrected. Now try hitting me again, but don't think about it. Just react to openings. Vexthul tried. His strike was noticeably faster, less refined but more unpredictable. Emma still dodged it but nodded approvingly. Better, see? When you're not running through your mental checklist, you're actually faster. Jotaro was frantically recording everything. This contradicts fundamental combat theory. The more training, the more efficient the fighter should be. Maybe for you guys, Emma said, overhearing the comment from the observation deck speakers. But humans? We practice until it becomes muscle memory, then we forget we're doing it. Conscious thought is too slow. We work on instinct refined by experience. Kael'thas approached Emma, his posture different now, respectful rather than aggressive. You would teach us this method? Emma laughed. I'm a janitor, not a combat instructor. You just defeated the Academy's finest warriors while eating a snack, Lyrana pointed out. That qualifies you as something more than a janitor. It qualifies me as someone who grew up with 3 older brothers and learned to fight dirty, Emma corrected. But look, if you want some tips, sure, just stop making unnecessary messes in the training rooms. You don't need to destroy equipment to prove you're tough. Director Zara descended to the arena floor, her mind already racing through the implications. Miss Rodriguez, I would like to formally request your consultation in revising our combat training protocols. Emma blinked. You're serious? Completely. What you've demonstrated today challenges everything we thought we knew about combat efficiency. Zara glanced at the Vanguard 7, who were nursing their wounded pride more than their bodies. And considering these 7 are the best we've produced in a decade, we clearly have room for improvement. I want better pay, Emma said immediately, and actual recognition for the maintenance staff. We keep this place running, and most instructors don't even know our names. Zara's mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. Agreed. And I suspect once word of this spreads, you'll have no shortage of students wanting to learn human instinct combat. Great, Emma muttered. More work. 3 weeks later, Emma was finishing up her cleaning route when she passed Arena 7. Inside, she could hear Kale Toss teaching a class. No, you're thinking again, his voice carried through the walls. Feel the intention, don't analyze it. As the human instructor taught us, instinct refined by experience, not experience overriding instinct. Emma smiled despite herself. The Vanguard 7 had become her most dedicated students, practicing the human method with the same intensity they'd once dedicated to their formal techniques. The results were impressive. Their combat effectiveness had increased by 40% in just 3 weeks. Of course, now every combat instructor in the academy wanted human consultation. Emma had negotiated 1 class per week, maintaining her primary job in maintenance. The pay increase was nice, but honestly, she preferred the quiet work of keeping the facility running. Her communicator chimed. Director Zara's face appeared on the small screen. Emma, the Galactic Defense Summit is requesting a demonstration of human combat techniques. They're offering significant compensation. Emma sighed. Do I have to wear a fancy uniform? Preferably, yes. Hard pass then, but I'll send them a training vid or something. Zara's expression shifted to what Emma had learned was amusement. You're the only being in the galaxy who could turn down an audience with the Defense Summit because you don't want to dress up. I'm a janitor who occasionally teaches people not to overthink punching, Emma said. That's not summit material. You're humanity's first official combat consultant to the Galactic Academy, Zara corrected. That's exactly summit material. Fine, but I'm wearing my work boots. They're comfortable. Emma ended the call and continued her cleaning route. In Arena 3, her Thursday evening class was setting up. 50 students instead of the original 7, all eager to learn what they were calling human unpredictability doctrine. She'd tried explaining it wasn't a doctrine, just common sense refined by evolution. They didn't care. They wanted to learn how humans move through combat like it was a conversation rather than a calculation. As she pushed her cart down the corridor, Emma passed a group of first-year students. They recognized her immediately, their conversation stopping as they nodded respectfully. She nodded back, amused. 6 weeks ago, they wouldn't have even noticed the maintenance worker. Her communicator chimed again. This time, it was Vex Thule. Instructor Emma, question about the dirty fighting techniques you mentioned. They're not techniques, Vex, Emma interrupted. It's just practical application of win by any means necessary. Right, but the eye strike followed by groin kick combination, is there a specific timing, or? Vex, if you're thinking about timing, you're already too slow. I'll go over it in Thursday's class. Understood, instructor. Emma shook her head as she disconnected. Instructor. 3 weeks ago, she was just the quiet woman who cleaned up after training sessions. Now she was apparently revolutionizing galactic combat doctrine. She entered the West Wing maintenance closet and started organizing supplies. This was her favorite part of the job, the quiet, methodical work that didn't involve analyzing combat patterns or explaining why humans didn't need 17 forms to throw a proper punch. The door opened behind her. Emma glanced over her shoulder to see a young Krellian student posturing aggressively. I heard you defeated the Vanguard 7, the student said. I want to challenge. Training's on Thursdays, Emma said without turning around. Right now, I'm working. But I've been studying your methods, and I think I've found a counter to... Emma turned, crossed her arms, and gave the student the same look she'd given her younger brothers when they were being particularly stupid. Kid, you know what the most important human combat technique is? The student straightened, eager. No, what? Knowing when not to fight. Emma returned to organizing cleaning supplies. Thursday, Arena 3, 7 p.m. Don't be late. The student deflated slightly but nodded and left. Emma smiled to herself. Maybe this teaching thing wasn't so bad. As long as she could still do the work she actually enjoyed. In the security office, Director Zara watched the interaction and shook her head. Humanity's greatest warrior is a janitor, she muttered. Jotaro, reviewing combat footage for the summit report, glanced up. No, Director. Humanity's janitor is also a warrior. That's the terrifying part. It means any human could be. Zara's mandibles clicked thoughtfully as she watched Emma return to mopping floors, humming an old Earth song. The human had fundamentally changed how the Academy approached combat training, negotiated better conditions for all maintenance staff, and become one of the most requested instructors in the facility's history. And she still insisted her primary job was keeping the floors clean. Humans, Zara said, almost fondly. They make absolutely no sense. And that, Jotaro added, is precisely what makes them so effective. Below, Emma finished her route and checked her schedule. Tomorrow, regular maintenance work. Thursday, combat class. Friday, apparently now she was consulting on Academy defensive protocols. She sighed. At least the pay was better. And honestly, watching alien warriors learn that sometimes the best technique was no technique at all. That was pretty satisfying. Emma locked up her cart, cracked her neck, and headed home. Another day, another several dozen paradigms shattered. Just another Tuesday for a human janitor at the Galactic Combat Academy.